listeners. You are listening to another episode of That's Auntertainment. I am your pop culture maven, Jeff Malone, and with me, as always, live from Hampton, Maine, it's my Aunt Beth Woods. With me, as always. Did I say always at first? Anyway, how are you doing, Aunt Beth?
I'm good. I'm excited to. I wrote it down on my paper. I'm so excited. So let's start diving right in because there's
Are
lots to
you
talk about
are you as excited as Mary Pointer and Felicia Pointer?
from the Pointer Sisters. I
Yeah,
don't
are
know.
those their first names?
I have no idea. Did you just make that up?
Uh,
What?
Yeah, I
Which?
guess I did. It looks like their names are Ruth and June and Bonnie, and there's a few others.
Oh, I
Yeah,
think I've
what did
heard
I say?
Ruth and
Mary and Felicia.
yeah, Felicia. I
Maybe
like that.
those are some of their daughters' names.
Okay. Yes, I'm excited because
Okay,
it's
well, don't be
been
too
a
excited
while.
because this is the time of the year where where being excited in your neck of the woods can actually make you sweat.
Oh, well,
Have you
in
reached 90 degrees recently?
oh. Not lately. We had that earlier when we had the heat wave. Now it's mostly been in the 80s.
Okay,
So
so snow's just around the corner.
stop. No, no, it's actually been pretty pleasant. So I'm hoping that it lasts for a while because
At
I'm not
least
ready.
until the end of this podcast, I hope, so that we don't
Yeah.
so that
Uh,
we're not all overheating. But speaking of overheating, this next guest is not known for that, despite being very closely related to me. Uh, this is quite the occasion for the fifth time on a full length episode. Please welcome our first member in the Five Timers Club, my dad and Aunt Beth's brother, Bob Malone.
Woo!
Hi, how are you?
Well,
I'm quite honored to be invited again, and I am excited, but uh, as I'll mention later on, not to be diving in.
You're not excited to be diving in?
Not. I don't like to use that term to be diving in.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
tell you why later on.
Okay. Make sure you do.
Weather's very nice here in Yardley, where it
Oh, good.
seems like we're done with that oppressive heat. It's been nice in the 80s and not much humidity.
Oh, that's
Hope it
nice.
lasts like this for a while.
I love to go outside in the evening. Like last night I was with a friend, and when it still feels warm, but not like sticky hot, but because the I felt like when we first moved here, the nights would cool down so quickly. But now I love that feeling of like you walk outside and you're like, oh, it's still warm out. It just feels good. But I'm glad you're done with the 90s. That was
Yeah.
horrible.
We've been eating outside some nights and
mm,
well,
Heating
yeah,
outside?
eating dinner outside.
Yeah, I do too.
I've been running the past few days, and I have not been completely drenched in sweat. Only about 60% or so.
Compared to. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about
Dad, do
what
you
we're.
remember the your four previous appearances?
Um, I have things kind of blur on me. I'm not always sure which was a full time and which was
Yeah.
uh, just a less than that. One was there were some Jeopardy ones.
Hmm.
Uh,
The Jeopardy guest hosts. That was the full time one.
okay, and Superman was that?
You
Oh
were
no,
not on the
that.
Superman episode.
See, I'm not real good at that.
SNL, right? Was one.
Yeah, SNL was your first time on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And
And
No,
then
I
I
don't
can't
even.
even remember
the
either.
other the
Oh, the
other two,
Beatles.
one was a TV theme and the other was a music theme.
Well, the Beatles, because it was all of
Oh, the
us.
Beatles was our big group.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you remember the other TV show?
The other TV
It was
show.
the most recently premiered of all the TV shows you've talked about.
Sheesh.
Hmm.
It was a limited series.
Oh, was it it was the Marvel show, right?
Right.
It was One
Oh,
Division. Was it
WandaVision.
yeah.
WandaVision?
Oh
Yes.
man,
Oh,
I
The
forgot about
sequel
that.
or the spin-off to that's coming out soon.
Oh, good.
Agatha All Along.
oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
goody.
Yeah, I think they just released the trailer for that. But oh yeah, so man, we could have like a whole episode just looking back at your appearances now. That's part of pop culture history now.
A retrospective.
Yes, because on here's the deal for all any new listeners out there or any returning listeners that need to be reminded. On That's Entertainment, we pick a pop culture topic and discuss it according to the three F's. First, favorite, and forever. You know, so like we talk about our earliest memories and our most prized memories and what we're currently thinking about this topic. We've got a great one today. Should we get into it, or do we have any other business to hash out beforehand?
I think we're
I'm
ready to
ready
roll.
All
to
right,
dive in. Whoops.
there we go.
Uh-oh.
Now I'm ready to get into the starting lane.
Okay.
So we are covering the Summer Olympics. We previously covered the Winter Olympics a couple years ago after the 2022 games. And on that episode, our guest was Jack, one of the co-hosts of the Greendale Human Podcasters episode. And Beth, do you remember how I did our little intro for that episode?
No, I can't even remember
So
that.
I did it was a little musical bit to the tune of the John Williams Olympic fanfare, where I just kind of sang the various Winter Olympic events to the tune of that music. So
Oh, gee.
should I didn't prepare an intro as thoroughly as I have for previous episodes, but would you like me to freestyle another John Williams style intro?
I don't know. I think we should just start talking because it's going to
All
take a
right. Well,
while.
I'll just do in that case, I'll just do a sped up version, a sped up vocal cover of John Williams's Fanfare. So, dun 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 dun. There we go. Okay, so the 2024 Paris Summer Olympics just wrapped up. They started in late June and ended in the middle of August. We're
Late
recording
July, not June.
June. That's July. That's correct. Yes, I sometimes pronounce July as June. Um,
Okay.
but thank you for correcting me there. Yes, they started the last Friday in
On my
July, and
birthday.
is that right? Did they plan
Yeah.
it that way?
Yeah, I think so.
And then they also took place on my dad's birthday. I guess that was the fifth day of the games, but my birthday was not the same time. But anyway, so we're recording this on August 15th. It'll be hitting your feeds August 18th. So that's a week after the closing ceremony. I don't know if that's enough time to have taken everything in, but there's just so many sporting events in this one big event. But anyway, let's get right into it. We're going to be covering the entire history of the modern Olympics, and all the way up to the most recent games, just the Summer Olympics. We already talked about the Winter Olympics a couple years ago. But anyway, so first, that's where we begin. A very good place to start. So, Aunt Beth, Dad, what are your earliest memories of the modern Summer Olympics? We're not talking about the ancient games, so going back no further than the 1896 games in Athens. I believe none of us were born then, but maybe if you have memories of those games somehow, you can mention them. But what were your what are your earliest memories of watching the Summer Olympics? Like what particular year do you remember as the first one that you know you watched, and what do you recall from those games? And as usual, we'll let our guests go first. So, Dad, earliest Olympic memories. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, even though I couldn't remember all the times I was on this show, I do remember watching the Olympics. I did watch just a little of the '64 Olympics. They were in Tokyo. I really don't think that it was on. I'm not sure how much it was covered. Obviously, not the blanket coverage that you have now and the past couple. But I know this was on a Saturday, and our parents, Beth, our parents had it on, and I didn't realize at the time how significant this race was. But it was the 10,000 meter race, and Billy Mills, Native American runner, was running, and so we kind of had it on in the background, and it was just kind of like watching the Wide World of Sports every Saturday that we had on, and the announcer was saying the runners, and Billy Mills just kind of, I thought he was kind of bringing up the rear, but actually I rewatched some of it. He was in contention, but towards the last couple laps, he was in third place, and then, but he was not a favorite at all. And then in the last lap, he and I remember this. He sprinted ahead and won the race, and this was a really big upset. And I have just remembered that for years, and it's my first Olympic memory that Billy Mills won the race. At the time, I just remembered it as an American won the race, and I don't think, for so long Americans haven't done well in distance. So it might have been the first American winning that distance race for a long time. But it was also significant that a Native American winning a race. And I think also when he went back home, he, it was that kind of tragic story back to the reservation and alcoholism and whatever. But it was really a significant accomplishment. And that's all I remember really of the Tokyo Olympics. And then in '68, now I'm a little older. I was running track. I was more interested, and just I don't remember watching it much at all. But I wanted to see Bob Beamon long jump because that's one of the things I did, and I missed him jumping. But then I saw it afterwards, and the world record, I think, was 27.6 inches, and he jumped 29.2 inches or 2, and you never break a record by that much. He broke it by like a foot and a half, and after he jumped, he looked and saw it, and he just went down to his knees and like his head in his hands, and I remember that because he was just shocked by his accomplishment. It was in altitude. It was at Mexico City, but to me, that's one of the all-time great accomplishments. And then my other memory of the '68 Olympics is after the 200-meter race, we had Tommy Smith and John Carlos, and they were two American medalists. I forget who. I think they might have been first and second or first and third. But after they won the race, when they were on the medal stand, they gave the Black Power salute. I think they stood in their socks and gave the Black Power salute, and this was really a shocking event. I think they might have been sent home after that, but that really stood out. So those are my my earliest memories of watching the Olympics.
Those are good ones. I was wondering if I would remember because we would have been watching in the same household, but
Yeah.
I was a lot younger. So my first are from the '72, so I would have been 16, I guess.
Mhm.
I'm surprised I don't remember any from the '68, but what I remember is seeing Olga Corbett doing, and that's probably what started my love of gymnastics because she was like this tiny little thing that came out, and they said she kind of, I don't know how they described it, modernized or revolutionized gymnastics at the time. And then that was also the summer of Mark Spitz. So
Hmm.
I'm sure we probably all watched it together.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a memory of sitting, like watching more during the day in the summer at home. But I don't know if how much was televised during the day.
I
That,
think that's
that
when it started to be shown more.
yeah,
You know,
maybe.
I think we really started, but just on ABC.
Yeah, just the
Yeah.
one station, but
Yeah.
we would, oh, so it was ABC. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm
Mark
pretty sure it was
Spitz.
on ABC for a long time.
So we were, yeah, I'm sure we all were watching, and he won 7 gold medals
Yeah.
in swimming. And at that point, I was old enough. Plus, he was so cute. So
Mhm.
that always, so those are the two. Mine are much more, you have those are very like, historic, the ones
Yeah.
that you're thinking of. But, yeah, those are my two earliest memories. I think when we talked about the winter, I did remember 68. I remembered Peggy Fleming, but I don't remember, unless like if somebody mentioned some names, maybe I'd remember them from
Mhm.
68. But the ones you mentioned, I didn't even remember the names. So Jeff, do you remember 1968?
Well, I've seen the picture of Tommy Smith and John Carlos so often that
Oh,
I I probably saw that picture
Mhm.
when I for the first time when I was younger than you were, Dad, when that actually
Uh,
happened. So that's my memory of that. But as for what I actually saw live that I remember, would be the '96 Atlanta games when I was 8, and I have this very distinct memory. I don't know how accurate it is. I mean, yeah, nearly 30-year memory at this point, but I just vividly remember us being on vacation at that time. I don't know if it was a full week vacation or just a weekend trip, but I remember coming back to a hotel room and getting in bed at like 8 o'clock, and Mom asked me, "Why are you getting into bed so early?" And I was like, "I just want to stay in the room and watch the Olympics." So, do you remember where we would have been if we would have been on vacation around that time, that
was it?
summer?
Now, most Summer Olympics are July, August. Occasionally, depending on the location, they've been in September. You know, if it was a hotter
oh.
Yeah,
location. Um, but was Atlanta in the middle of the summer?
it was. Yeah, it was July 19th to August
Uh,
4th.
okay.
Hmm.
Um, so were we at the beach, or you think it was somewhere else?
Well, wouldn't have been
I
a
think I
hotel
feel
if
like it
you.
was somewhere else because
Hmm.
yeah, I feel like we were in
Miles.
a hotel. Like I feel like we were all in one room together, or maybe one or two rooms connected
Did you
to each
go to
other.
Disney ever in the summer?
Not that year, I don't think. I think we went when I was
96.
in,
You'll have to think about that.
Hmm.
But
let's
A
see,
wedding
96.
or?
I was maybe, or did we go to like um, Dutch Wonderland, or
Hmm.
oh, you
where was
guys
some
used to go
place
there
that we went like that?
or
I
Hershey.
I can't think of it right now. I don't know.
Yeah,
Check with
come
Mom one
come
Okay.
back to it.
after we're done recording,
All right.
or if she pops in and can look that up. But yeah, I mean maybe my memory is messing with me. Maybe that was some other occasion. Maybe I'm conflating two things, but
Hmm.
I have that distinct memory. But anyway, as for the actual events of those Olympics, I do remember. I don't have a distinct memory of where I was when I was watching this, but I do know that's when Michael Johnson won the double, the 100 meters and the 200 meters
Uh-huh.
on the track. So like that was my first impression of a top Olympian of my lifetime. Like he's the fastest guy, wait, was he 100 or 200 and 400?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The 100 was won by what was it, Donovan Bailey, and then they had an exhibition match, an exhibition race, I think, after the Olympics, where they ran a 150-meter
Oh,
race,
okay.
and I think Michael ended up cramping in the middle of that race,
Oh.
so it was. But anyway, he set a world record in the 200, which I think stood for like 12 years until Usain Bolt
Uh-huh.
broke it. Yeah. Yeah. So those are our earliest memories. Do we have any other things to add before
No.
we move forward?
Nope.
Okay,
No,
now,
I did see the 36 Olympics, but that's in movies of it,
Oh,
clips of Jesse Owens and things like that.
yeah,
Oh,
there's been so many movies about the Olympics. We'll have to be careful.
Chariots
not
of Fire were earlier Olympics and things like that.
Yeah, we'll have to be careful not to conflate the real thing with the
Right.
on-screen version. Okay, let's move on to favorites, where you discuss our most beloved, most cherished memories of this particular topic at hand.
I love it, I love it, I love it!
So I wanted us to drill down, just pick our absolute top choices. So, what are our favorite, just one or two? That's it. All-time favorite Summer Olympic memories of all time. Dad, which ones did you pick?
Well, if you want, wow, you have the effect of just the recency bias. So there's a couple. So I will eliminate that because there were a couple things that happened this year that were so impressive. But I'll eliminate them. I'm just going to go with in 2021, the women's 4x400 and track. To me, it was like, and I love track, and that's always my favorite event. And I'm not going to say the men's dream team basketball because it wasn't even close, those games. But the women's 4x400 relay was like a dream team. When they got to, I said, "Oh, who's going to run this?" And it wasn't just all the top 400 runners. They had Thing Mu was the 800 runner, and they put her in the 400. I said, "Oh, that's great." And then Sydney McLaughlin, which was her name then, was doing the 400 hurdles, and she ran the 400. And then they had, and those are the two I remember the most. And then they had the 400 champ, and I forget who the other two were. And it was just such an outstanding team. And then they ran such a fantastic race, and I was just so excited when they put that team together and the way they ran it. And just to pick one event, that's just one of my favorites.
you can pick two.
Two.
He said two.
Two. Then my second would be Edwin Moses had a streak of I think he won about 112 races in a row, and he ran the 400-meter hurdles, and I think it was both in Atlanta, the Atlanta Olympics. So that was '96, Jeff, and then might have been the Olympics before that. I'm not sure. It covered two Olympics too. So that unmatched excellence that he did, that was just fantastic.
I know, it's like you said, it's hard to pick. I don't know why I went to favorite, but also kind of early, I guess, because this just made such an impression on me, was in 1976 when Nadia Comaneci scored the first perfect 10 in gymnastics, and I mean, that was like unheard of at the time. So that to me was so exciting. And she was this teeny little thing, and then did you see they showed her at these Olympics, and I would never have recognized her. Like,
Did she grow a lot?
she was like blonde, long hair. Well, she's got to be. Well, she was like 16, yeah, so she's got to be early 60s.
Uh-huh.
But she looked pretty, but I didn't know it was her. And then I guess what could it be? I'll just say it quickly. 1984, when the men's gymnastic team, they were the first American team to win a team gold medal, and that was a really exciting team with Tim Daggett and Bart
Bart
Connor
Connor.
and Mitch Gaylord. So I remember that. And then let me just say this one. This is not a favorite, but definitely a memory that Bobby will remember. Uh, 1988. Oh, so the year you were born, Jeff, in Seoul, and
That must be
Greg
why I have so
Louganis.
much soul.
Greg Louganis was one of the best divers ever, and he hit his head.
Oh,
Do you remember that? Oh my God,
yeah.
on the diving board. And I swear they must have shown it like 500 times. Every time you did that, the thing was on. Oh, and that just stood out in my mind because that was horrible.
Every
But I
time
think
somebody does a backwards dive now, I'm afraid they're going to hit their
I
head.
know it's there's not much room in it looks like when they dive, there's not much room. I think that what I was reading, it said he went on to win even after that. He had a concussion and then I think he ended up winning like another gold medal. But so okay, those were mine. What about you, Jeff?
Before I do that, Dad, did you say, I think, did you say Edwin Moses was medaling in the 90s? I'm looking up, it
I
looked like it was the 80s,
I don't
actually
know if it
70s
maybe
and
it was
80s.
L.A. and
Uh, yeah, on his Wikipedia, he won gold in 76 and
oh, okay,
84,
76, 84 because he didn't compete in Moscow in 80.
right? And then he
Okay.
got the bronze in 88.
Oh, okay.
So
But
I
I
guess
think
that was when his streak ended.
his streak went from 80 to or 76 to 84 or whatever. I don't know. It went for years and years. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, well, for my favorite, I was kind of surprised that this was my answer because it's not one of my most favorite sports, but this memory just stuck with me. It was from the 2000 Sydney Olympics, the Greco-Roman heavyweight wrestling final. Rulon Gardner defeated
Uh-huh.
Alexander Karelin. Rulon was American and Karelin was Russian. This was Alexander Karelin's only loss ever in his
Wow.
entire career in international competition. I
Wow.
think I was looking up. He lost one other time in a Russian competition, but this was like one of the biggest upsets in sports history. And I remember just turning on the Olympics one afternoon. It might have been live, or maybe it was pre-recorded. I don't know with the time difference with Australia at the time, but I sort of remember being home by myself and just like turning on the TV at the perfect time, and the announcers setting up the context perfectly. Like this would be a huge upset if Rulon Gardner wins this, and then he won like 1 point to zero. Like, neither of them pinned the other, but he won a point for I forget what I don't know the rules of wrestling that well, but he was the only one that managed to get a point the whole match. And I also remember my one of my grade school teachers, so I would have been starting seventh grade that year. In Sydney games, I think took place in September, since it was actually the fall or it was winter
Yeah.
in Australia at the time.
Oh.
But Sydney has temperate weather year round, I guess. Um, so yeah, it was my seventh grade. I was in seventh grade at the time, and I also had some subjects with the eighth grade teacher, Mr. Merck, and I remember him being a really big Olympics buff, and I think I forget if he mentioned it to us in class beforehand or afterwards, saying that this wrestling match was a big deal. Um, yeah, so just I wouldn't have paid too much attention to wrestling, Greco-Roman or freestyle, otherwise, but yeah, this was uh, Rulon was surprised, was amazed that he won, I think even though he had said like I think I can win before the match, he's like he told the reporter that I can win, but he and his coaches they were overjoyed, and he was on all the talk shows for weeks afterwards. Yeah, that's Rulon Gardner. That's my favorite Summer Olympics memory.
Exciting. It's
Can I
funny
tell you
what
my Can I tell you my least favorite memory? Or is
Yeah.
that not it? That was when the U.S. lost to Russia in basketball in the
When was
final.
that?
Forget the year, and that's
I think
when
it
the
was
Russians had
70.
like
I think it was 72. I
two.
think it was the Munich Olympics.
Okay, and the Russians were given like three chances to inbound the ball, and until they finally got it and won the game, and it was
What do you mean given three chance? They shouldn't normally, or
yeah. They kept
given?
the referees kept on saying, "Oh, okay,
Well, like
we'll do it over.
the
We'll do it over."
like the
Oh, yeah.
FIBA official, or if I don't know if FIBA had been formed yet, but like the world basketball official like came onto the court and like told the referees to like give them an extra opportunity to do the inbounds pass.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, they were
Heard
the
of.
Russians were down a point, I think, and there were a couple seconds, and they didn't get it inbounds the first time, and then they said, "Oh no," and the Americans thought they had won, and said, "Oh no, the Russians got another chance." Still
Oh
didn't work, and
man.
then they finally got a chance, inbounded it, and then they won.
Ugh,
Scored and won.
you didn't like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, all right. Before we move on from the favorite section, Aunt Beth, you had a question for all of us. Should I read it, or do you want to introduce it?
You can read it because I forget how I actually worded it. So.
Okay. Well, you asked all of us if you were able, which sport would you choose to compete in for the Summer Olympics and why? I assume you mean a sport that's already in the Summer Olympics. Although
Yeah, and
the
when
way
I
you
said if
phrased it,
you,
maybe we could just pick any sport
no,
that
I meant
exists.
in the Olympics, and also I meant when I say if you were able, like if it's something that you could actually do, not that we wish we could do, because this is something I don't know why I've thought about this for a long time, so that's why I asked you
So,
guys
do you
that.
mean like a sport that we are currently able or decent at, or one that we wish we were good at?
More like that you wish you were,
Okay,
that you could actually compete in, which
right.
would not ever happen probably, but so kind of like a dream, I guess.
Okay.
No.
Well, Dad, what did you
Well,
pick?
even though I had some background in track, I picked the speed rock climbing because
Oh my God.
that was so fast, and I would just be able to get it over with really quickly. I think that's the
Hmm.
fastest event there. Uh,
Is it the fastest?
the
Wow.
butterflies would be over, and you'd have it done, and that's it.
See, that's what I meant. Like a good reason. How fast do they do that?
I think they did it in under. I saw a women's event; it was like 6 seconds, and then I saw the men's, and I think it
Wow.
was 4.74 seconds.
Jeez. For how far are they going? Do
They
you
just
know?
they go up, they climb up a wall, and boom, that's
Yeah.
it.
I know.
And I think they just did it once, and that was it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Well, so yeah, so you kind of got my question because so I picked swimming, and the reason is not because I can swim, but I hate to sweat, and I always think that if you're a swimmer, you're always in the water, so you never like get super hot. Like I'll watch. I'm weird like that. I'll watch if Riley's has her hair down and it's hot. I'm like, Riley, your hair's making me hot. Like if I look at people in the summer that are dressed wrong, I get really hot. So I think, oh my God, when they're competing, some of well, the long track running or ice skating or whatever, I think, oh my God, they must be so hot or so sweating. So that's why I thought swimming, you wouldn't have to deal with that because you'd always be nice. Well, I don't know how cold they keep the pools there, but you wouldn't sweat while you
Very
were,
refreshing.
yeah. So
Exactly.
what
Yeah,
about,
that's a good practical reason.
yeah, that's why I picked it. What did you pick, Jeff?
Well, I I decided to go with BMX freestyle bicycling, the one where they do the tricks. Because I would just love to be able to fly through the air.
I know.
Yeah, and it would be fun to skip the learning curve, because I'm sure that all the extreme athletes have to go through a process of scrapes and bruises and cuts like all over their body. But it'd be nice to be able to do flips and all the aerials without having to worry about getting injured.
Mm. Yeah, that's a dangerous one though. You picked a dangerous one.
Right.
Okay, well that's kind of fun.
But with the hope that I'd be proficient enough that to limit the danger.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be so. Okay.
All right. Well, shall we ask some trivia now?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any question for us, Dad?
Yes, and it's a two-parter, okay? The
All right,
first
so we
part,
shouldn't shout it out. We should.
what?
Jeff or I shouldn't shout it out. We should.
Well, the first part I think is fairly easy. What are the 5 colors of the Olympic rings, and what do they stand for?
Oh, I read that and I forget.
Um,
So we shouldn't. I do know what they stand for. So I don't know if Jeff does.
let's get the colors first. It's red,
Okay, so
white,
red,
yellow, and green.
blue, yellow, green.
No, you have one that's not a color.
Wait, red. We said
Oh,
red,
black,
Right.
black,
white.
black instead
Right.
of
Right.
is it red, white, yellow, black, and blue. Or wait, is it blue or green?
No.
No.
Wait,
Red, white, yellow.
red, white, yellow, black.
You said
We've said
Yeah,
all
those
5.
4, right?
blue, yellow, black, green, and red.
Oh, green.
Oh, not yellow. Wait, or not white.
Not white.
Wait,
Not
okay,
white.
not
Oh,
white.
okay.
Okay.
I don't know why I was thinking.
Blue,
white.
yellow, black, green, red.
Okay. I know. I think I know what they stand for, but
Okay.
if Jeff,
You go ahead, because
All right.
I've not.
I
I
think
haven't.
it's supposed to encompass every color of the country's flags. So every country that competes,
Not exactly.
something like that, though. Okay.
Close.
Well, that had to do with the flag. We should know that.
All the
too.
all the colors of the atmosphere.
The ring.
It's close to the colors of the flags. It's
You might need to give us a clue.
yeah.
Don't think of flags or countries. Bigger than countries.
Continent.
Yeah. It's Africa.
Oh, it's each one is.
This is what I read. Africa. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
The Americas, Asia, Europe, and Oceania.
Oceania.
Blue. That's
So does that include Antarctica?
once they send somebody, we might. Then we'll add white to the
So
rings.
what's considered?
Well, I'm saying
Oceania?
does Oceania, and that's like Australia and the nearby island countries.
Yeah.
So does that
Oh,
also include Antarctica?
You probably would
I
have.
don't know that.
So
Okay, well, that was
what
my
are the
question.
colors for each country then?
Hmm?
What color represents each continent? I mean,
I didn't match them up there, so I guess blue is Oceania, and black is Africa, and then I'm not sure what goes to the others.
okay.
'Cause
Yeah,
I didn't put them in
know how they
order.
picked
So I'll
that.
give you 50% there.
Okay. You were close. Okay, mine is a one-parter. Which country has hosted the Summer Olympics the most times? Well, I guess it is two parts because you could say which country
Oh,
and where. You have it. Wait, let me hold up your. Oh, I thought you're
I
holding
have
up
my
the
hand
answer.
up.
I thought you're holding up how many times.
Oh,
Okay, can your dad say what he?
Yeah, you go ahead, Dad.
I believe it's the U.S. 4 times.
Correct. And do you know the which ones?
Ooh. Um, L.A., Atlanta,
St.
um,
Louis.
St. Louis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's it, because LA was twice.
Oh, okay.
So St. Louis 1904, LA 32 and 84, and Atlanta
Okay.
96.
So it'll be
Well,
5.
right. Atlanta,
What's the
L.A. will
next
Yeah,
be
one?
another.
so 3 in LA.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Um, okay, here's my question. What is the oldest Olympic record in track and field that still stands?
Wow.
Ooh, I
I'll
will
give you a
have no
hint.
idea.
It's no longer a world record. It was a world record at the time that it was set, but while it has since been broken outside of the Olympics, but it still
Oh.
stands in terms of athletic competitions.
Is it in the
Uh,
last 30 years?
No,
the
But
marathon.
no, not in the last 30 years, not the marathon.
Okay.
last 40 years.
Nope.
So it's from a long time ago then.
Oh, it's older than that?
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
It's not the marathon.
Yeesh.
Is it a running event?
Um, no, it's a field event.
Oh, okay.
Discus or one of those?
It's not a throwing event.
Okay.
Triple jump.
You're very close.
Oh, long
Uh,
jump.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know, and do you know who it was and when it was?
Is it still Bob? Is it still Beeman's record?
It is, yes. Beeman in '68. It's
Yeah.
still that still stands as the Olympic record. It
Oh,
was been
oh, the one you were talking about, Bob,
yeah.
that when he broke
Did
his into
somebody break that
5?
as a world record?
yeah, it was broken in '91. Let me check. I was looking it up earlier. Um, it was broken in 1991 by Mike Powell.
Oh, the
And
American jumper. Uh-huh.
yeah, so it was Dad. You gave us the feet and inches measurement, but we
Yeah.
also got the meter measurements. Beeman's was 8.9 meters.
Uh-huh.
Mike Powell's was 8.95 meters,
Okay.
so a couple inches longer.
Right.
Yeah, Powell's is. I mean, so Beeman's the Olympic record has stood for nearly 60 years.
Mm.
Powell's world record has stood for more than 30 years. So,
Yeah.
come on, long jumpers, you still got.
Yeah.
So
Have
what
we
are the
reached our
different
jumping capacity?
there's the high jump, the long jump is where you just stand still and oh no. They don't stand.
It's a
They
running jump.
yeah. And then what else is there? Triple jump?
Triple
Triple
jump
jump.
used to be called the hop, skip, and a jump, but you take
Okay.
like 3 jumps in there.
And there's none where you just stand and then jump. I thought that used to be something.
Only in like football practices and things like that.
Okay.
All right. Well, I
Okay.
think it's time to wrap it up with this year's Olympics with the favorite section. Are we all ready to move right along there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now the forever, or did I just say favorite again? I meant forever.
Forever! Forever! Forever!
So in the forever section, we take stock of where we currently are with this topic and also look ahead to the future. So first off, how did we watch? What was our viewing strategy for this year's games? Did we just stick with NBC or bounce around the cable channels? Peacock offered lots of live coverage, and what about like the other shows, the highlight shows that were on? So Dad, well, you and I watched a fair amount together. We were on vacation during the second, most of the second half of the games, but I'll let you describe how you watched the games this year.
Yeah, well, because I was, well, not home, but home or on vacation, and had most of the day to watch it. So we watched a lot of it and watched it live. I think I watched most of it on NBC, but we switched over I think I switched over to USA some of the time. If I didn't necessarily switch over to Peacock unless you were possibly watching it there. My wife was watching golf, so I watched some of that. I felt like I was getting enough variety, and I relied on NBC. I was kind of lazy. I let them dictate to me, so I didn't need to watch full basketball games, full soccer games like that. So I didn't switch over to Peacock in most cases, unless you had that on. I didn't need to watch a full marathon race or something like that. So I was pretty much satisfied with just the coverage that NBC had on, but usually watching it during the daytime. And when it came to night, I was more selective because we had really watched a lot of the shows, and then I didn't watch it fully at night.
What about you, Aunt Beth?
Mine's the opposite. I watched every night on NBC and was kind of I was like started to really look forward to it after the dogs would leave and I'd have dinner and I'd say, oh good, I can go sit down and watch. I don't usually put the TV on much during the day, and I want to be outside, and so I don't really put it on. But then I think I'm probably missing a lot. But I did like in the evening. You are subject to what they decide to televise, but I thought they did a good job with showing you just some of the quick clips of like what you said, Bobby. Who needs to sit there for 2 hours and watch a marathon? You can see the most exciting parts of it, which they did. I did I did put some of the breaking I wanted to see, which was on Peacock. And since that was new, I watched a little bit of that. But I get overwhelmed. Like if I didn't want to feel the pressure to think, oh my God, I got to watch all day. And so I just kind of, like I said, stuck with the evening. Except I did watch Kevin and Keenan's highlight show on Peacock. And oh my God, it was Bob, have you watched any of it?
Yeah, when Jeff had that on, I watched bits and pieces of it.
I have not. They just were cracking me up. The two of them together were magic. Mm-hmm. And also, I thought that Keenan was funnier. One of the almost the funniest that I've seen him. I feel like on SNL he doesn't get to portray his personality as much on. They were just. I don't think they've ever done anything together before, and they just made each other laugh so bad. And they'd show these funny clips that would crack each other up, and so that was like a highlight for me too to watch that. So, but otherwise it was mostly just good old NBC, and I tried to tape it so I didn't have to sit through commercials because I do not like to do that.
Well, I'll second the love of the Keenan and Kevin show to start off. And I'd have to agree. I love Keenan in pretty much anything he's ever done, but this may very well have been the funniest he's ever been, at least among the funniest. Kevin Hart, I'm a little more hot and cold on, but this I was like, this was
Oh,
like the perfect gig for him. He and Keenan teamed up together. Like, I don't know if they'd ever. Well, Kevin Hart's hosted SNL a few times, so they've worked together there. But I don't, as far as I know, they've never collaborated elsewhere. So, but they clicked
oh,
instantly.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, when it comes to the Olympics, I
Hi, Teddy.
I like to watch as much as possible, but it's kind of impossible to do. We've got
Excuse the barking.
what's that?
I said excuse.
We have another guest.
Yes.
Yeah, we've
Teddy.
we've got it's not one of the dogs in your house, Aunt Beth.
No, my.
Yeah, a little out of the
Quiet.
ordinary. Yeah. That's Teddy, has he made an appearance in the background before? My brother, former and possibly future guest Rob Malone and his wife Erin. That's their dog Teddy. He's being dog sat by my parents currently. But anyway, I guess he wanted to let us know that he loved Keenan and
Yes. Yeah.
and Kevin as well. Yeah, so I want to watch as much as possible, but then I also end up really focusing on the sports that I love the most, which are like swimming and track and field, and also basketball, even though I watch regular college and pro basketball the other time of the year. Olympic basketball is also great. But the first Saturday, I think I watched about 10 different sports. So I was really proud of me. Even just like, I might have just watched rugby for like the last 5 minutes of one match, or I just turned on like handball for 2 minutes or something. But I was like, this counts as long as I put down the remote for a little bit and pay attention. That counts as watching this sport. But I don't think I've watched quite everything, but you can watch the replays on Peacock still, I believe. So I might just have some other events that I missed on the first go around in the background in the coming weeks and catch on what I missed. But yeah, so I focused on the live swimming and track and field, which were in the afternoons most days, like approximately 1 to 4 o'clock. And then I rewatched the primetime coverage kind of just out of curiosity to see how they would package it. And also because there were a lot of great races, and like, I'll watch them again, even though I just watched it for the first time a few hours ago. It was really exciting. And then I bounced around. USA, CNBC, and E all had morning and afternoon coverage as well. And I was really, and I liked. I mean, Peacock was really great. Like, if you were like, I want to watch all the live coverage and the medal winning moments. Like, they had the multi-view option. You could have 4 screens open at once and be like, ooh, let me keep tabs on track and swimming and judo and kayaking all at once. And it's like, maybe I'll focus on track right now for a few minutes and then go back to the multi-view. And then they also had the Gold Zone show, which was just bouncing around all the different sports, and like, okay, this event's about to end, we'll take you there. Okay, this great race is about to end, we'll take you there. So I sampled those a bit, but I mostly focused on the live coverage in the middle of the afternoon on NBC. But yeah, I mean, it's tough fitting in all this Olympic viewing when I still have a full-time job, and then when I'm on vacation and want to spend some time on the beach
There's just
as well.
so many options. It's just hard to watch everything. So that's why I let them dictate to me, in large part what to watch. I really didn't have any complaints. No, I'm sorry. I had one complaint.
Overwhelming.
The only complaint I had with their coverage, and I just didn't get it, was they just showed a lot of diving and on NBC, and I really didn't get that for a couple of reasons. The Americans, obviously it was for an American audience, and the Americans weren't doing well in that, and I just didn't know why that was being shown so much. Otherwise, obviously, they were showing track and swimming and gymnastics. That's really the big three. And then when it was important, they would show basketball. You'd see parts of the games during the week, but when it became important, you'd see more of those games. You'd see, gold medal games, significant parts of those in soccer and things like that. But it was just, to me, an excessive amount of diving, and that was really my major complaint about coverage.
Interesting. Now that you mention that, too, yeah.
So I just didn't get that.
Mm-hmm. Well, one suggestion I would have is I'd love them to do like a Sports Center style highlight show. I mean, the Keenan and Kevin highlight show was great, but that's a comedy highlight show. But I'd really like something like, like just a half-hour daily recap or so. That, like, instead of the Today Show, or as part of the Today Show, be like, here's a recap of every medal event from the day before, or something.
Yeah, I would like that too.
And okay, to wrap it, so that now we've discussed our viewing strategy. What were the most memorable moments, athletes, sports storylines this year? So I wrote down a whole list. I'm guessing Aunt Beth and Dad, you did as well. So let's do this. Let's all each run through our lists quickly, and then we'll decide which ones we want to focus on based on what each of us has said. So Dad, what's in your list? What made the biggest impression on you?
Okay. You want me to go through all of them, or what?
Yeah, just read them all quickly.
Okay. Well, again, track was the biggest thing for me, and the men won medals in almost every track event. Biggest surprises were Cole Hocker winning the 1,500 meter and Grant Fisher getting third in 5,000, 10,000, since we don't usually do well in distance. And the most outstanding performance to me was Sydney McLaughlin of Roan setting the Olympic record, winning the 400 hurdles. And Gabby Thomas,
I believe, not
what?
Just the Olympic record.
Was it the world record?
I believe so.
Okay, Gabby Thomas getting 3 golds, and then also the men's basketball. Steph Curry and LeBron James are just all-time players, and fantastic play there. And those were the things that stood out for me.
All right, Aunt Beth, your list.
I think I got more. There were so many. So for athletes, I have put down, these were my favorite. Leon Marchand, the French swimmer. I liked him before at the end, he got to carry torch or something, but they weren't making that much of a big deal of him at first, and I was like, he just seemed so like, I don't know what the word was, but I just, no, it was just like, not full of himself or anything, and I just really liked him. Mondo, is that his name? The pole vaulter? Well, no, he's U.S., but he competes for Sweden, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was incredible. Of course, I don't know how to say his last name. Stephen Nadoraj.
Nadoraj with him.
The Clark Kent of gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
He was adorable. Steph Curry, I don't watch basketball like you guys, and they showed that clip of, he must have gotten like 7 3-pointers within I don't know how short of a period. I'm watching them like, oh my God.
It was 4 3-pointers in the last 3 minutes of the gold medal game.
Each one was harder, I think, was farther out than the last one.
And then there were some the great swimmers, Katie Ledecky and Grant Fisher, and then the women's relay team with Tori Husk and Richard Walsh. And then, I loved the Brazilian gymnast, Rebecca Andrade, because, we're so focused on the U.S. incredible Simone and the team, but she just was really fabulous. And same thing, like so excited, that I don't know if she'd ever won a medal or anything. And then the last I'm going to sing for this. I call these girls Bobby's Girl. I want to be Bobby's Girl. So there's the, you kind of mentioned them to me, I think, last time. It's Gabby Thomas, who's from Northampton, Mass. Shakari Richardson, who is, oh my God, she's adorable. And Sydney McLaughlin, she's from Dunellen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the three of them, well, and they did different mix-ups for some of the relays, but I just loved watching them.
Yeah.
What did Shikari win the 100
She came in
meter?
second in the
Oh,
100.
okay. Who won it?
It
The
was Julian Alfred from St. Lucia.
Oh, that's right.
St. Lucia's first ever medal in any
Yes.
Olympic sport.
I also liked, they just showed her quickly, Anna Hall, who was competing in the heptathlon.
yeah.
And I thought she was very good. And then my favorite announcer is Rowdy Gaines. Oh my, because he just gets so darn excited when he does the swimming announcing. I just love it. I love when they just get so into it. And let's see. Oh, these are all favorite things, right? I'm almost done. Okay. I love seeing all the support. I don't remember seeing this in other Olympics, but maybe it's so. I feel like in so many of the sports and us of the competition, afterwards the athletes would go hug the other athletes or congratulate them much more so than I remember seeing before. And that made an impression on me. And lastly, I really like Mike Tirico. I remember when Bob Costas, when he stopped, I was like, oh no, because I really liked him. So it took me a little while, but I think that Mike does a very good job with the announcing. So, okay, those are all my favorites.
Okay, well, I have some overlap, but with others, but I don't think this is an exhaustive list, but here are the ones that I remembered to make a note of. So, multiple come from behind track wins. Noah Lyles, um, Hall, what's Hall? Quincy Hall, and Cole Hawker, and then the American men doing well in the distance races. Cole Hawker and Nagoose in the 1500, Fisher in the 5K and 10K, Kenneth Rooks, the big surprise in the steeplechase. I love Noah Eagle and Dwayne Wade as announcers for the basketball. Hopefully, they'll become full-time announcers on NBC when they start showing NBA games. I think that'll be next season that the NBA rights go back to NBC. Steph Curry's gold medal heroics. Katie Ledecky waving to the little girl in the stands after one of her races.
Yeah, I went, and that little girl's reaction.
Oh,
Did you see that? That was so cute.
cute. I know.
And
So
Snoop Dogg just having fun the whole Olympics. I enjoyed the various SNL cast members stopping by NBC's studios to promote the upcoming 50th season. I enjoyed watching the Breaking. That's the Breaking's Olympic debut. And Sydney McLaughlin Lavroni's. I think that's how I heard it pronounced. She just gets a world record every time she runs the 400 hurdles now. It's just ridiculous. So that was my list. Yeah. Oh man. Well.
so much.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I need to rewatch it all again because it was just so overwhelming. I mean, just so many magical moments. There's a reason this only happens every 4 years.
Yeah, I know. Like it is overwhelming because I feel like I probably watched maybe a quarter of all the different sports that there are. That's my one complaint though. There's too many events. And I feel like if they keep adding new events every 4 years, then they should get rid of some of the older events or ones that aren't as popular because it's just too much. Like you can't, I'd like to see more of the ones but they're just not shown well, I guess I'd have to watch on Peacock or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
So hard to keep track of everything.
I hear what you're saying, but I like that. I mean, I like it and I dislike it. I like that everything is happening at once, even though I don't like that. That means it's pretty much impossible to be able to watch everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, to me, that's one of the signature aspects of the Olympics. That you just have the thousands of Olympians all together in the Olympic Village all at once, and I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to lose any sport, but
Mm.
yeah, it's. I mean,
Well, I
yeah,
don't
from
know, it
like
gets kinda
from like
crazy, some of the
a
stuff that
television
they're
aspect of it,
adding.
it's like there's going to be some losses there, but yeah, I think.
Yeah. See, I'm not big on golf and tennis being in it because they have their
Yeah.
competitions, you know. But some of the
Yeah, I do.
competitors say, "Oh, it means a lot to me to get a medal." But
Yeah,
you know,
well, I
but
do. I mean, I think there is something about that because, like, with those sports, it's like
oh,
just another tournament. It's not really any different than any other golf tournament or any other
yeah,
tennis tournament.
Yeah.
Whereas I think with something like basketball, it is, or soccer for that matter, it is the international game is different than
yeah,
the
hmm
NBA, for example, and like individual sports, tennis, golf, you're just competing individually, whether it's
yeah,
the Olympics or not. But team sports, at least there's a difference of you're playing with your countrymen as opposed to your coworkers,
Yeah.
as it were. But I love tennis enough that I'll watch it even though it doesn't have quite the cachet as Wimbledon or the U.S. Open.
Mhm. What
All
do
right,
you
do we
like
have
Mike Tirico, Bob?
yeah, yeah. I think he's pretty good. Keep things moving and really has a good control of everything.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, we've been going
All
on
right.
for more than an hour,
Yeah.
and somehow that we've managed to cover absolutely everything.
Yes.
Unless, was there anything else that we had to say before we wrapped it up?
I don't think so.
Um,
Okay. Do you have something, Bob?
oh, no. One last thing I'd say: opening and closing ceremonies to me were blah. Didn't do much
I
for me.
well, I haven't finished watching the closing ceremony yet. And I think closing ceremonies in general are usually not that great, but
Mm.
I did appreciate the opening ceremony for
Okay.
doing something different. Like you're not going to see, where else would you see an opening ceremony where they're all on boats
Yeah. Well, I thought that
riding
would
around
be
the river?
more exciting or interesting, and that didn't. I mean, I did not stay up for that for
Hmm.
too
I zipped.
long, but
Well,
it
I taped
wasn't.
it, so
It
I
didn't do much for me.
yeah, zipped through a lot of it, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't
Okay.
know.
Well,
All right.
I recorded both of the opening and closing ceremonies, and I'm kind of still making my way through them. Those are like shows that I'll turn on in the background while I'm doing something else. Okay. So, are we all ready for the Los Angeles Olympics 4 years from now?
Not
Wait,
yet. Not,
no,
Okay. You
need
haven't
a
you
little
haven't
break.
booked your tickets yet?
um, my wife
I
wants
was
me to.
I was thinking like, you see all the famous people at the events, and I'm thinking, I wonder how much it costs to go to say to see Simone Biles or to go, to the top events that we saw the
Yeah.
stars. I mean, it'd probably be impossible to get tickets to go to some of those things anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe we
So,
should
I,
just go to modern pentathlon instead.
well, let's just watch it on TV because then you get to see more.
That's
You'd
true.
be
Well, now you could
okay.
bring your phone to whatever event you go to in person and watch all the other live events on your phone while
A
you're
little
there.
small thing to watch it on.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
maybe. Okay. Well, before we say goodbye, we'll promote anything that we've got going on or that someone else is doing that we'd like to promote, and answer the question, is there anything you'd like to recommend that you can enjoy with your aunts and or nephews? Dad, anything to promote or recommend?
No, I don't really have anything at this time.
Okay, thank you. Aunt Beth, anything?
Yeah, I guess the only thing thought of is, well, now I can watch everything that I put off while I was watching the Olympics. The only thing I could think of specifically, I want to watch the Rob Lowe Unstable, and there's an Elizabeth Taylor thing on Max.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, nothing. That's about it.
Well, I'll promote as usual that we have a Patreon. If you'd like to support us with a few bucks per month, you can do that. And Ken Jong, you still have an open invitation to be a guest whenever you'd like. And I'll recommend a couple of new rewatch podcasts. There's first up is the Lonely Island and Seth Meyers podcast, which is with Seth Meyers, Andy Samberg, Yorma Taccone, and Akiva Schaffer, reminiscing about their time on SNL together, the digital shorts era. And then the other one is Middling with Eden and Brock, which is Eden Schur and Brock Shirelli, rewatching the show they were on together, The Middle. So
who's the guy?
Brock Shirelli, he played Brad, her friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So a couple of That's Auntertainment favorites there, SNL in the Middle, are being rewatched by some of their stars in the podcast sphere now. And you can leave us a review. You can head to ratethispodcast.com/that'sentertainment, and we might just read it on air. And you can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And Dad, thank you for making the time once again. I guess now, Aunt Beth, we'll have to order his 5 Timers jacket.
Yeah, I'll send you my measurements.
Yes, send us the info.
Okay.
Maybe we'll just give you a cape or something.
Even a T-shirt would be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess then it's time to fare everyone well. Dad, you could say goodbye, or if you have a catchphrase you've been working on, you can say that as well.
Oh, geez, I should have worked on that. Now, goodbye, everyone, and thank you for the invite.
You're very welcome.
And I'll say, what is goodbye? Good night. I'm tired.
And I'll say, keep your remotes handy and your eyes open and your Olympic light aflame.